Okay, continuing on with the use of the control panel, we've seen how to transition between sources. You can punch up different cameras, so camera 2, 3, 4. Hyperdeck sources, you can play from the decks using these buttons. Punch up different things. We've got camera 4, as you've seen before. We've got a live camera on camera 4. One thing you can also do is you can punch up graphics and still images, so they can be keyed over the top. Lower thirds are the most common idea, where you bring up the name of a journalist or presenter to appear over your screen. So we have 1 or 2 graphics already into the system. I'll do another video later on how they get there. But to punch them up on the system, probably the easiest way of doing it is using what's called a downstream key. The idea being that whatever you do on the main control panel, whatever you have on the screen in terms of pictures and sources, decks and cameras and things like that, you can always put your lower third graphics on after all that processing is done. So it sits on top of the images that are underneath. And that's because it's downstream of what's going on before it. You can key normally. You can use the various key buttons up here to produce keys earlier. If you're going to do chroma key in the studio, that's where you'd use that sort of thing. But what I'm talking about here is just simply graphics. And you'd upload graphics from the Mac Mini computer that's here. You'd upload graphics into the ATEM system, and then you punch them up on what's called a downstream key. I'm going to do that now. So in this case, we have camera 4 output sitting on the screen, as you can see there. It's on our program, on our ME1 program output. I'm going to set up for a downstream key. So down on the control panel, you find DSK1, cut DSK1, and one of these white lights appears on the source select. Now, as you can see, it's currently sitting. It's a solid light, so it's not one of these shifted ones. Solid white light, and it's sitting on Media Player 3, and I currently have a graphic on Media Player 3, which is a lower third strap of one of the demo images that comes with the Blackmagic software. So if you want to see it, I'll punch it up in full screen so you can see. So it's basically saying Joanne Robinson reporting news, stuff like that. So that is it looks like a full screen graphic. It isn't. What you actually see, and I'll pull this up now, that is the key that goes with that graphic. It's a cookie cutter. It cuts a hole in the background image and inserts whatever is within those white areas onto the background scene. So if I go back to Media Player 3, what happens is you get the camera 4 image underneath, and this strap goes across the top. Because the white part of the key cuts a hole in it, just inserts the foreground image. Okay, so to see that happen, back down here, I'm going to select camera 4 on the program. On my downstream key 1, I'm going to have Media Player 3, because that's where my image lives. And on the other end of the mixer, down here, right in the bottom right hand corner, you have downstream keyers. And because we pushed down DSK1, I'm going to push cut to DSK1, and it cuts up. And as you can see, it puts it over the top of the image that's underneath. So camera 4's image is underneath at the moment. So I can push that cut button again. It lights orange. Push it again, and switches off. On, off, on, off. Again, there is an automatic timer function. You can program the duration of how long it takes to the auto button here, how long it takes to transition, so it will mix up. So if I push that button, it's quite a slow transition in this case, but you can get the idea. Slow up, slow down. Okay. Again, there are areas on the mixer which are concerned with setting how long that takes. So in this case, we've got DSK1, set rate, and I can change that rate. So if you look down here, the reflections aren't really helping very much. Let's see, there you go. Keep an eye on that little display there above DSK1. And as I change that value, hopefully you'll see it change. There you go. So make it nice and slow. We'll make it over a second. And push that same auto transition again. Say hello to Hugh, everybody. He's just walked in the door. So there you go. Nice slow fade on DSK1. Okay.